Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences, raw conversations, one destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. That's my jam. It is a wonderful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be my? I'm almost even Louise Jefferson singing, Barry White singing. The point is, I can sing. Why? Because my voice is on the way back. I'm claiming it in the name of Jesus. I'm not kidding. I went to that laryngologist guy, you guys, yesterday, and he gave me something. And I can tell my voice is coming back. Pray for me. Pray for me. Any Reiki healers in the house, do your thing. Do it. I'm so excited. Thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh, man, I tell you what. Today is a wonderful day for a number of reasons. But the first one is happening right now. Together, you and I, we are creating a unique moment in time. And that is why I love that promise that guarantees us that when two or more of us comes together and we're there because we want to be, not because we have to be, we are in the same place with the same mindset, heart set, and soul set. Guess what? Spiritual magic. It's real and it happens. It happens every day right here. And I thank you for that. That's the bell of purpose. It is rang on purpose and not just as a little clever show gimmick. No, not a prop, but more of a reminder, if you will, that when you hear that bell, just like that bell has a ring to it, guess what? That's right. So does the truth. We're busy people, but we should never get so busy that we don't catch the truth as it's coming towards us. Can I get an amen? Come on, put it on the screen. How are you guys doing today? Yeah. Here's another little before. Guess who's here today? JAX. Cowboy JAX Young. I love JAX, you guys. He should come. I should have JAX here once a month, right? JAX and I, we're in our second quarter of our podcast, Licensed for Love, the relationship, Lord Jesus, the heartbeat in relationship conversation, and doing really well. The show is doing really well. And I'm looking forward to today because the last times that I think he's been here twice. How many times have you been here, Jax? Hold up fingers. Twice. Okay. I can see him in the green room. Every time he comes back, I know him a little bit more because we've been working together longer and longer and longer. So for those of you who have never met Jax, get ready for a treat. He lives in Nashville, Tennessee. He's a country music singer. Been doing it for a number of years. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get him in here and we're going to listen to a little bit of one of his songs. Get ready, though, because if you're one of those people like me and you get a song in your head and you can't get it out, this one's going to do that to you. So here's the latest. You know, I was headed to Cincinnati, Ohio, supposedly Saturday. Was going to leave Saturday morning and come back Sunday, you know, the rap party and all that's going on. I have to go Friday now. So I had to cancel one flight. Thank God for that insurance. Always get flight insurance and concert ticket insurance, right? Brian got, we were supposed to go to Steve. Well, he's going Saturday to Stevie Nicks. And I was supposed to go to the really expensive tickets. He bought them months ago. And then I couldn't go. He goes, well, I knew it. That's why I got the insurance. So then when I booked my flight, I got the insurance because of what he said. And thank God. It's because the very next day they told me, oh, yeah, we want you to come. So anyway, I'll be going. You guys, so send some light, some love, some prayers. And shout out to all of my cast members in the Heathen show. Thank you so much for working with me. So Jax Young, wow. So much to say. I'm going to just get him in here. This guy, man, if you guys don't know him, you need to follow him. He does so much for so many people. He's a fellow veteran, and he just brings a lot of light to a lot of things that matter. He comes up with all of the show topics for Licensed for Love, and I don't even realize how great they are until I'm listening back. Like on the weekends, I'll binge listen, and man, I just become more and more impressed with him every day. So I hope that is the case for you. Put your hearts on the screen. You know what we do. We welcome everyone here. This is a safe space. Some virtual clapping. That's what we do when we put our hearts on the screen. So put some on now because guess what? Here he comes. Cowboy JAX. Where'd you hitch your horse?
It's out by the gate.
Jax, can I ask you something? Welcome, by the way.
Sure. It's good to be back, Doc.
Thank you. Where's your hat display in your house? Because what do you got, like a bookshelf with cubby holes and they slide in? Or do you got them hanging on pegs?
So on my desk, we're getting ready to paint and do some different stuff in here because obviously you've expressed to me that we're gonna start doing some behind the scenes stuff for License for Love. I don't know if I'm supposed to get into that yet or not, but
Yeah.
so I'm country, so I got this vase that's shaped like a square. It's this glass piece, and so that's where my black hat sits on top of it. And then up in my bedroom, in the second room, is where I hang my other hats.
You hang them.
Yes,
See,
sir.
I bet you somewhere in the world there's a gay cowboy that has a bunch of hats, but you know what he probably puts his hats on? Those foam wig heads. Remember those wig
I
heads, those creepy wig heads like your grandma would have or your aunt? Right.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty cool idea. I actually like that idea a lot. So, because there's care that goes into having hats and making sure you take care of them. I mean, they're not, like the costume stuff that you see a lot,
Yeah.
and the cheesy stuff that you see in movies and TV shows sometimes,
Speaking of
like
cheesy, good. Because we watched that one with Kevin Costner. What's it called? It's good.
Yellowstone.
Yeah. And they have a thing in the bunkhouse. Better not throw your hat on the bed. It's
Mhm.
bad luck. Do you have any of that kind of stuff with your hat that you
Well,
just don't do that to my hat?
Well, there's a few things. Old saying used to be back when I was single, if you're wearing the hat, you're going home with the cowboy. That's a big one. Because you'll always, when you go out, you'll have people be like, oh man, let me, it's like some kind of gimmick or something to them. They're like, oh man, let me, put your hat on, or, guys and girls. And so, the remedy to that, what's that?
Okay. Yes. The ones who try to take your hat off your head and just
Yeah.
doesn't that
That's
piss you off?
that's a quick way to catch an ass whooping.
I know that's right. Thank you. Right. So, boy, only one thing worse than that: singing karaoke and somebody who comes up because we sing, we really do,
Mhm.
and then that
Mhm.
person from the audience comes up trying the drunk one.
Man.
Okay, so another ringer on that. Hey, I'm gonna dip out. Just have a moment to say hello, fill in the lines about your your life, your history, your passion. Then we're gonna come back and talk about the diversity duo, License for Love, the heartbeat in relationship conversation. So it's all you. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, y'all. My name is Cowboy JAX, and I've been very excited to know Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris for um, a long time now. The show was actually how we were introduced to each other. And you can follow me on my Instagram, which it still sounds so cheesy to say, but Cowboy JAX LFL. And that's where you can stay up to date on, what we're doing with the episodes, the amazing guests that we'll be having on the show. Like the doc said, we are in our second quarter of episodes. And I know that on the onset, you may not know what that means or how big of a deal that is, but getting the opportunity to speak with some of the folks that we've already had the opportunity to speak with has been really cool, and it's been a blessing thus far. And so, yeah, you can see License for Love flashing on the screen there. You can also see our show anywhere you get your podcast. I especially like to push iHeartRadio and Spotify. In addition to that, we are focused and centered on uh, understanding one another, not necessarily agreeing with each other. The whole purpose behind this show was for us to have a platform for community neighbors, which are non veterans, US service members, and US veterans. And we have singles and couples on there. And thus far, basically, it's do we judge a book by its cover? So it doesn't matter what your sexuality is, it doesn't matter what your religion is, it doesn't matter what different things you practice. Lorne and I believe that if everyone has an opportunity,
Mhm.
like he likes to say, to come in, sit down on the couch, and have a conversation with the old cowboy and Doc, it's a really cool experience. And what we found so far in the show is that organically, folks are starting to see that there's really not a tremendous amount of difference. And I know we'll get more into the show, but when I say tremendous amount of differences, there are a lot more things that connect us culturally, even though we're all in different cars getting down the path, that really show, especially in sexuality, that it doesn't matter what your sexuality is. So that's a little bit about License for Love, and I'm very excited to be on Bathrobe Moments this morning.
Thanks. Glad you're here, Cowboy JAX. Listen, before we're gonna talk about the show. We're definitely gonna talk about the show. That's why I wanted you here today. But I want to help you. No, you help me because I didn't even know about it, honestly. As a veteran, I did not. Well, I heard it, but I didn't understand it because it's not talked about enough. I know I can't be the only vet, but that community neighbor piece, which is so important to you. We're going to see some examples of it a little later in the show when we show a clip from your music video of what that really looks like. Seriously, leave a light on. So talk about it. Why? Number one, why is it so important to you? And number two, why is it we don't hear more people talking about that aspect? Why does it sound new? Community neighbor.
Well, one of the biggest reasons that you don't hear that phrase a lot is because I believe that we do not have a definitively defined veteran culture. I believe that we have subsects of different things, excuse me, but a lot of those threads come from going back to the military, right? And the reality is that once you get out of the military, which I call hashtag life after the uniform movement, you got to think about what the next chapter of your life looks like, because you're never going back to that uniform. It doesn't matter if you've been in for 4 years, or it doesn't matter if you've been in for 30.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I was thinking about Save Home Front or shfveterans.org, you can, check that out. I wanted to be able to figure out, how do we connect the over 310 million Americans in our country with these folks that are coming out of the military or have been out of the military for a while, because it was all centered on, in the media, if it leads, it bleeds, right? Sort of thing. So it was combat and deployments and all this different kind of stuff. And so the reality for me is that you're not a civilian, you're a fellow citizen. But even as a fellow citizen, that seems more of a civic thing. How do we create an organic cultural experience with each other? And so I coined the phrase community neighbor as a title, because I wanted community neighbors, non-veterans, to understand that their role is equally pivotal in that next chapter of what happens with US veterans. It's not just about thank you for your service and move on, right? It's more so centered on, what are you doing now? How can I help? How can we work together to create a more unified economy and a cultural shift in our country together? Because as you can tell, in the last few years on many issues, which is one of the reasons why we started License for Love, there's a lot of polarizing stuff going on out there right now, right? A lot of division going on out there right now.
Yeah, and it's driven through fear.
Exactly.
It's driven. That's what's going on, and it's coming from so many different directions. I know it always has been, but it even more so now. I feel.
Let me ask you this: when you hear the word civilian, do you kind of feel like a secondary citizen, versus when you hear the word community neighbor? Doesn't that psychologically just feel better?
I'll tell you exactly what I pictured. I do everything in images. When you say civilian, it feels like a sterile waiting room. When you say community neighbor, it sounds like we're sitting in the living room.
You got it.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference. And civilian is I mean, I get it, but it just isn't personal enough. And so,
go ahead, Doc.
No, go Go on. I'm drinking.
Oh, I mean, for all the folks out there that may not be familiar with understanding veteran culture or even understanding what me and the doc are talking about, because the only snapshot that you've really seen of military U.S. veterans is you haven't seen military U.S. veterans for the most part. You've seen television shows and movies and news and documentaries centered on military service, right? So the U.S. veteran culture is equally as important because that is what the connective tissue is all about, right? And so, in order to get there, we have to hold U.S. veterans accountable and understand how important that they understand what that next chapter of their life looks like. But community neighbors, non veterans, need to understand that they play a very, very pivotal role because there's way more of them than there are of us,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we thank you for your service just is, and it's awkward, you know.
It is. It is when people say that to me. To me, I go past it really fast. Okay, thank you. Anyway, what was I saying? But then when I hear it spoken to someone else, or you see it in a movie or whatever, it kind of pisses me off because, especially since I've been doing the show with you, because I get in deeper with more vets than I did before. Because it's not like when I go to the VA, I was there yesterday, I'll be back there tomorrow. It's not like I said, so, now, those vets in there with the hats with all the buttons and stuff on them, sitting next to one of those, you're going to know the whole history of the United States. But normally I just go do my thing and I leave. But in the show, going deep with a lot of these military veterans, I find when I hear thank you for your service, it doesn't sound adequate, because it's really about thanking them for their sacrifices. You hear me say that. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Yeah, I love that you say thank you for your sacrifice because it would be a no-brainer to anyone to understand the sacrifices that are made, unless you've been living under a rock. I mean, folks, we're in the 21st century. Like, any information is at your fingertips at any given point in time. I don't think that that's where the struggle is. I personally feel like in the work that I do is that relationship between the community neighbor and the U.S. veteran, right? And there are a lot of things out there that help perpetuate that. And so, getting full circle back to the community neighbor thing, which is what we were talking about, I wanted to create a word that would disarm that immediately for a U.S. veteran and for a community neighbor, and it works. Like, we call it the save home front effect is, people, whether they're U.S. veterans or their community neighbors, they're like, I never thought about it that way. But and I know, living in the space that we live in, of talking to people about changing their life, motivating their life, words are everything.
Yeah.
And so just those little nuances can make a whole different conversation, in my opinion. I've seen it firsthand, and I think you have too. So.
I have. Listen, we're going to jump to commercial a little early today. Oh, you guys are going to hear an alarm go off on my phone at 56 after the hour. Or no, I think I put it at 54. James Cooley's watching. Hi, James Cooley. Thank you for your sacrifice, retired naval officer. Also a
Pleasure.
Show host. We had a meeting yesterday with everybody, and anyway, we have to be off the air at 56 minutes now because E360 is packed. We have no extra space. So if you go over, you're running into someone else's time. So we want to be respectful of that.
Well,
we're going to be
congratulations on that.
Thank you. It only took us 4 years. It was great. A great ride. Yes, we're very excited. And you're going to be excited when you come back. And we're going to come back and listen to some of JAX's music. Cowboy JAX is in the house. And then we're going to tell you all about License for Love, why it's so important to us, and why you need to get on your Alexa and listen to the episodes. We'll be right back. Don't you go away.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling.
You heard it here first on Screaming Eagle Radio. Disabled veteran JAX Young with Leave a Light On.
Ain't much I can say, even less I can do, but I want you to know I'm so dang proud of you. I should have said it then, but the words wouldn't come out. Now I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave a light on till you get back home. Beacon shining in the dark, guiding you back to my heart, where there's a light on, even though you're gone. Keeping the faith, you get back to where you belong. I'm gonna leave a light on. Baby, it's rough having this kind of love, feeling deep inside, wraps your soul up tight. All pain for you is all I can do. But at night, my hope glows bright. Leaving a light on until you get back home. A beacon shining in the dark, guiding you back to my heart, where there's a light on, even though you're gone. Keeping the faith, you get back to where you belong. Gonna leave a light on.
Okay, I'm stopping right there because listen, because you know how hard it is to turn your own music and stuff off. And what about this, Jax? Remember when you have like something new and you're like playing it for people and somebody starts talking and you want to just reach over, just would you shut up when I'm singing? Right. So, great job.
But you know, that's actually a compliment. Like on my music, when I will write new songs or I want to like get them, you know, like a focus group or whatever, you put your music on, and as general conversation starts, that means that there's a familiarity and an acceptance of that music. So it's a psychological thing that's actually really cool.
I didn't know
that happens.
Well, there you go. And what I found really exciting, I almost knocked all my pencils off. Lindsay Gutierrez is in there, your co-star in that video. And the last time I watched that video, you were on the show. We had just started, but I didn't know Lindsay yet.
Yeah.
Because she's been on the show now. Lindsay, the girl you see with Jackson there, is one of the episodes. What's the episode called?
Just a kidney.
She gave
right.
Tell everybody about Lindsay's story. This is just to give you a peek inside of what kind of guests we have. Tell them about Lindsay.
So what was really cool about Lindsay's story is that she is a perfectly healthy woman, and just out of the clear blue sky, she saw an ad, and I don't want to give too much away because I'd like for you to watch the episode, but essentially she donated her kidney to another U.S. veteran. Like, didn't know him, completely random, no type of like circumstances other than she saw that and was like, I think it might be a good idea to give them a kidney. And me and Doc equally agreed prior to the episode when we were talking. We were like, nah, like it's going to take a lot to get my kidney, but a
whole lot.
Yeah, but what's cool about that is that where there's some really cool surprises on that episode. So I'm not going to like expose that. But what was really awesome about it was it provides you an opportunity to see a U.S. veteran not talking about PTSD or not talking about suicide or not talking about homelessness, which all these are important issues. There's over 40,000 veteran charities out there. it provided you to see a U.S. veteran in a light of how they interact and how important they are in their community and what those relationships look like. So that's a little
Yes.
snippet.
Yes. And all of our, and got, Jax, I just got to give it to you. I'm ringing the bell 3 times right there, because not only do you find incredible guests, but you're good at pulling those marquee titles, I call them, like above a theater to get you to come in and buy a ticket and sit down. The titles are just brilliant, and I'm enjoying it so much. And he's absolutely right, you guys, because I'm telling you, even I, as a veteran, am shocked once I get inside and, the shade is pulled up, on what these people really are and what they stand for. And it makes me want to do better too, because here's my deal. Until this behind me was coming up, I had not even thrown my veteran experience into my history that I put out to the world. It wasn't even in my bio, and because it was so long ago, but still. So I wanted to ask you about, because you actually had 2 other co-hosts prior to myself on License for Love. When you first had the brainchild, you came up with the idea for the show. You started with, I think you had 2 women, right?
One woman.
One woman, and then who? So you only had 1 other guest or show.
One other co-host prior to you. Yes.
Did you ever think that you would be doing this show with a guy, and let alone an LGBT guy?
So the short answer is, I knew that I wanted to.
Not.
The short answer is no. I had not explored that thought process, because originally the idea was supposed to be about singles and couples, right? And for different aspects of culture, U.S. veteran service culture, U.S. veteran culture, and community neighbor culture, to see through these relationships of singles and couples that they all sort of go through the whole thing.
Right.
And then after the pandemic kicked off and all the shitstorm hit the world, so to speak, we had a lot more polarizing issues that started to arise that were centered around on anybody's preference. Like, it didn't matter if it was sexuality, religion. Like, I think people were just super cranky because they had been pinned up for so long. And so, you got to let that out somewhere. And so when I saw you on a different show that I think was called Lounge with Legends.
Yeah, Marty and James Phelps.
And I saw you, and unfortunately, or fortunately at this point, the other endeavor didn't work out for whatever reason. That's show business, folks. I was like, I want to talk to that guy. There's something about him, knowing that he's a U.S. veteran, knowing the way that he's presenting himself, and the fact of knowing that he is a member of the LGBTQ plus community,
Right.
That I think when you look at us, like, we're the odd couple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Literally.
But when you watch our show, it works.
It does.
People have a really good time, and it's a lot of fun. And Doc, I got to be honest, with us coming into this second quarter, I think we're really proven that if you do judge a book by its cover, like, you're an asshole, because there's really not a lot of reason why to do that.
Exactly. And there on the screen is our Facebook page, License for Love, where you can see Cowboy Jax and myself up there. And we have a lot of stuff. I'm not going to go down there because I don't want to blow anything. I want you to go over and take a look for yourself. Go over and follow us and support this worthy endeavor. I will say that much. I want to go into this one. Let's see what we're doing. We're doing great on time. I want to go into this one, Jax. Relationships, the heartbeat of relationship conversation. Most people would think, well, there's already 1,000,001 shows everywhere, podcasts, TV shows, live streams, blah, 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 about relationships. But the diversity duo, I think that's just a brilliant idea because it gets pretty heated in there sometimes.
Yeah, Adam Bird from Heroes Media Group was like, "Oh, I love this last episode." Well, because he said he loved this last episode because we kind of mixed it up a little bit. But that's what I love about you and I is the fact that it's not fluff.
Right.
Like we're there to represent what we believe in and are there to understand. And part of our DNA is not to necessarily agree with each other.
That's
But
right.
my favorite segment of the show is our final thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Because no matter how heated it gets, me and the doc, we always make up and have some really good nuggets, I think, for you to take with your daily life from week to week.
I know, and I love it because you can you take it and I take it, and it's like it reminds me. I think I said this to you once. It reminds me when I was a kid, and my best friend Scott Rusher, our parents, well, my mom and his parents, he had two, I had one. We would be begging to hang out, and we were in Cub Scouts together. We were inseparable, but 10 minutes after you would hear it's like Tasmanian devils in the bedroom, just wrestling and fighting and da 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 da. But the minute they take us apart, oh my God, it was the end of the world. So it reminds me of that. It works so well. Let's talk about if someone is listening now. I think all of our guests have been veterans, right?
No. Actually, every single month, we have a representative of the U.S. veteran culture, the military service culture, and community neighbor culture. And we
Right.
also work on
LGBT.
the diversity component is the sexuality piece,
Right.
right?
So how do you go about finding our guests? I mean, you got some kind of Periscope or something? How are you finding these people?
You
I mean,
know,
we had the
and
guy from Tristan from High Five.
yeah, Tristan, he's amazing. He just wrote a book called Hiatus that's been out for a while. Y'all have to
Yes.
check that out.
That episode's
honestly,
out right now, right?
yes, sir. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
I think you can get it like everywhere. I think he's doing book signings and stuff
No,
like
I mean,
that.
the episode of License for Love with him. I listened to it the
Yes.
other day.
So every single week to make it convenient for y'all, we pin the new episode at the top. So when you click on our profile picture, you're going to see last week's guest. You'll have a link to take you to the show. There's a little ditty in there about them and the synopsis of the episode, which a huge shout out to my spouse, Linda Sullivan, who does the editing for me. So I write the concept, and then she'll go and she'll help to fine tune it. So she's a great editor. So wanted to give her a little bit of love.
Yes, Linda. We love Linda. I want to.
So guests, right? You were asking about guests. So
wait,
this is this.
Wait. While you're talking, I want to put the Heroes Media in because that's
Oh,
what
okay.
you're talking about. Click on our profile, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're directing a lot of traffic to our Facebook page right now because once we have like 1 million folks, that really helps us out to pay the bills and keep the show going and all that other kind of thing. But yeah, Heroes Media Group is where you can go to be able to find us website wise. And then of course if you're attached to Spotify or iHeartRadio, all you got to do is put in License for Love podcast wherever you get your podcast. We should be able to pop up, that sort of thing.
Okay, go ahead with that question.
Oh, so what's very interesting about our show and what I wanted to make sure that was different about our show is that I hand select every single guest based on a specific experience or topic. So it's not one of those shows that you come on our show and it's a general interview show. Like
Right.
there is a specific reason why they're there of something that they have dealt with specifically. and you can only be able to get it from them. And I love that approach to the show because it makes it so much more unique. Now, on the back end, it makes it a lot harder for all you out there thinking about joining the 5 million podcasts that are already out there. I can tell you that when you really finite what the details of your show are about, it's a lot different versus having somebody on and ask them about their projects or whatever. And so how I do that is I think about the things that I think that either the public has a possibly misconstrued view on, or something that I want to know or understand, you know. And then when it comes to the celebrities, and we've had some really cool celebrities on,
Yes.
you can ask the doc.
Jesse
They'll say every time, "Oh, I'm so glad that this show wasn't like the typical fluff. I'm so
They say
glad that
that
you guys
every
really
time.
mixed it up," you know? Yeah.
You're right. They do say that every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like this,
Jesse G was awesome, you know, about,
and
you
what's
know,
her
what
name? Bird.
Laura Bryna was
Laura
awesome.
Bryna.
Yeah, that's the one you should listen to, that me and the doc tied it up a little bit because we were talking about polarization and the opposite of that, you know, stick and move, baby, stick and move. But yeah, and you know, it's just, and so those are the stories that I think are important, because that way when you look at the collective of being understood but not necessarily agreed with, you can see that it's not an opinion inflated show. It doesn't go, we stay apolitical, actually. We keep politics out of it. We keep it in the cultural human condition. And the result of that is at the end of the show, you see the consistency that the labels don't matter. We're all people. We're all wanting to be loved, right? License for love, right?
Yeah.
And we're all wanting to be able to connect and grow in our lives. So that's where I really think that the show is exciting. That in the three cultures that, you know, we give a voice to.
Absolutely. So JAX, here we are actually on the Heroes Media Group site, and you were saying, I'm just doing it in real time. So here it is. License for Love. You're going to come over. You're going to click on our thumbnail, right? Am I doing it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you click on the thumbnail, and then that takes you into our little spot. There's those beautiful mugs right there.
License for Love are experiences, expertise,
Can you hear
and
that?
views of their own.
I can.
Diversity Duo is in no way liable for actions or advice one takes in their daily life from our.
I got to turn it off because I'll forget we're doing the show and start listening. And you know what, JAX? That's another thing I love. I'll put it on and I'll have Alexa play it. And like the other day I was cooking and I was making greens, y'all. I was putting greens. So I was in it.
Love me some greens.
Oh, they're so
me
good.
some greens.
I'm having them for lunch today, every day. Brian, you know, I got to trick him into them. But I was making my greens and I had it on and I forgot it was us. I'm commenting and stuff. I'm chopping onions and stuff. And I was like, that was a good one. Blah, blah. And I was like, wait a minute. Is that weird? But I got so lost in the content. Remember, and I was so caught up, so impressed. I texted you. Remember?
Yeah, I gotta say, it moved me. That really meant a lot to me that you said that.
Well,
really meant a lot.
Because it took me out of, it was just, what happened was I texted Jackson. I just had to honor him and give him his flowers. I was like, dang, dude, I had no idea just how good you are. But when I went in and experienced it from a different perspective, you know, as a listener, it was great. I feel perfectly good saying it that way. It's not something from an ego place. It was just the truth. So,
well, I mean, honestly, it doesn't work without the diversity duo, you know, and that's why we have hashtag the diversity duo, And when I was thinking about the branding on this for Lorne and I was like, what are we really? You know what I mean? Like what is it? And I love, there's a nerdy side of me that likes superheroes and stuff like that. And so in my mind I was like, we're a superhero team for culture, you
Yeah.
know? And we, we're not Batman and Robin, we're like Batman and Batman or, whatever. And so I was like, well, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's a duo.
It
And
is.
that's like a kick-ass team, that comes to do work. And then the diversity piece, obviously, which I love that, by the way, because coming into this, I thought, okay, sexuality is really going to be a thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's funny because the people that are a part of the LGBTQ plus community that we've had on our show thus far is they talk about their sexuality about 5%.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's not relevant to how they live their lives. And I think more people that are of the heterosexual world, for lack of a better phrase, gets invited into that, the more they're going to really start to understand that we're not different,
We're not.
you know.
Not in the things that truly matter.
Yes.
Our joys, our pains, what
Yeah.
keeps us awake at night, the fears for our children, the love for our community, all of it, all of it. So I just love that, and I'm really looking forward to all the change we can help create inside those mindsets that have not been pliable, if you will, up to now. They're just, stiff and stuck in whatever for whatever reason. Half the time, they don't even know why,
Yeah. But
So,
it's their stories, right? It's not us. We're just evaluating on what they had to say, right?
that's right. And so, what would you say to the person who says, okay, but I'm not in a relationship, so why would I need to listen to License for Love? I'm
Well, for
single and I'm not even interested. I'm not looking.
First off, I would say primarily if you were a woman between the ages of 25 and 45 or a member of the LGBTQ plus community, whether supporting or actually, homosexual in nature or whatever it is that you identify as, and you're not listening to License for Love, you're really missing out because that's the main audience that we're talking to. And for all the people out there that feel like that it's just about like relationships and stuff like that. It covers some of that stuff, but really what it is that through these unique stories that these people tell, we want you to see a piece of yourself, or we want you to walk away understanding something that you didn't before, because we all inadvertently judge a book by its cover. And what's the answer to that? Understanding more so we don't. Like for me, with Lisa Tahir, we were just guest on All Things Therapy podcast that's going to be coming out, over 1 million downloads. I thought the woo woo was a big joke. This alternative medicine kind of thing, were something that I was carrying a lot of judgment that I didn't realize.
Right.
And when you watch the episode, Doc and her both, man, we unpack some really cool stuff, and you get to see how my thoughts on things change. So I'm not sitting here just blowing smoke up your butt. You know what I mean? Like, I practice what I preach. I walk the walk. I don't just talk the talk, and so does Doc.
And you're
Although
right.
he's hilarious on that show because we're a little bit more well, the gloves are off. It's not bathrobe moments, I'll tell you that.
Sure isn't. It's not your mother's podcast. Let's put it
Yes,
that way.
exactly.
And you ride the talk. You don't just walk it, you ride it. I just showed it. He's a real cowboy, y'all. Sitting on that horse. So listen, we're unfortunately out of time, but it has been a most awesome time. So that's what's important. It's not quantity, it's quality in all things.
Yes.
Remember that, you guys. And Jax, tell them what days the new episodes drop.
So every Wednesday, we thought Wednesday was a good day to do it because it helps you get over the hump. It really does. At 6 o'clock Central Time is usually when it drops on our Facebook page. The folks over at Heroes Media Group are really good. If you're already subscribed to a Spotify or an iHeartRadio, you probably can get it on Wednesday at the beginning of the morning. You saw our new episode, but we drop ours at 6 o'clock Central Time, usually on the Facebook page, to make it super convenient for folks. So please like the page if you believe in diversity and everyone being able to have a voice in our country. And please write a review. We need these kinds of things to bring in bigger sponsors and keep the show going.
There's my cue. That's it. So, Jax, I'm going to give you the chance to take us out with the final thought, like we do every week on License for Love. And then I'll say my goodbye right now to you all. I will see you live back here Monday the 12th, because I have a follow-up appointment tomorrow. And then, of course, I'll be in the air at this time on Friday, headed to Cincinnati. So thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend. We got some great reruns coming up tomorrow and Friday for you. You don't want to miss. And a full lineup of live interviews starting Monday the 12th. Jax, final thought. Take us out.
Yeah, folks, I just want to thank you so much for all the people that listen to Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris and support him and support me. When we started this show, the whole idea was I could keep forcing my opinion on you, or you could keep forcing your opinion on me. But if we sit down and have a conversation, that's how we can really be able to make a difference. And that's the License for Love podcast. And I'm so excited to be on today on Bathrobe Moments with my good friend, Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris.
There it is. I'll see you guys. God bless you. Get out today, make a difference in the world, and be the blessing you'd like to see. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us. But thanks, Jax.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it?